Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Hello and welcome to episode 140 of Missing Frames. I am your host, Shawn Eastridge. This is the podcast where we watch all the movies we should have seen by this point in our lives, and it's another milestone episode, which means we're bringing back Brad Gullickson into the fray. Brad, welcome back to the show.
Hello!
Hello to you, sir. And you know what? This is too exciting of an episode. It couldn't just be shared by the two of us, Brad. So we are bringing back John Mills into the fold. John, welcome back.
Call me Snake.
It's John Carpenter. It's a sequel related episode. It's an anniversary episode for Missing Frames. There's a lot going on here. And this is a film, not a film. This is two films.
Double feature.
It's a double feature. That is how special it is. Two films I have never seen in all of my life. Those films are John Carpenter's Escape from New York and Escape from LA. And you two gentlemen are the big fans. Brad, you're the one who suggested this. And John, I know you're a big John Carpenter fan. I believe you're a big fan of at least one of these movies. But Brad, we'll start with you. What was your introduction to Escape from New York and I guess by association Escape from LA?
I mean, I'm a John Carpenter maniac. I think we've established that at some point on this podcast, talking about a classic like Halloween 3 Season of the Witch.
Well, you introduced me to Big Trouble in Little China.
That was
one of the first episodes we did together.
That's right. Right. It's weird to me that you haven't seen every John Carpenter movie, period.
It's weird to me too, so you're not alone.
But I'm also excited that at some point we'll be doing Memoirs of an Invisible Man on this podcast.
You know, I have seen, is that the Chevy Chase one?
Yeah.
I saw that years ago as a kid.
Sad for the podcast.
Podcast. Well, we can still do it.
I don't know if I'm going to be available for that particular episode, so we'll work that out when we get there, though.
It's funny because I think you actually suggested Escape from New York, Shawn, and I was like, well, if we're going to do New York, we got to do LA.
You were like, let's do both. We're going all in. And that's kind of the franchise boys mentality, I think. You were just like, we got to do it.
It is true, but it's also like very Brad of me to be like, you know what? LA has some merits, everyone. I understand that people hate LA, but I think it's quality.
It's the only way to get people to listen to your opinions on Escape from LA.
I gotta come in with the hot takes.
Brad, I truly, I've always been a true admirer of your commitment to the bit. And that's why I'm happy to be along for the ride, because I know that I'm really looking forward to half this conversation. And I'll let the audience figure out which one.
Yeah, LA's terrible, okay? Like,
all right, see, we're starting with a baseline where we have common ground. Fantastic.
Like, I'm not going to go like, actually, everyone, LA's superior to New York. That's crazy talk. I cannot go there. But I do have a soft spot for LA. But I saw LA in the theater, and when I saw LA in the theater, I was furious. And it took age for me to calm down and accept LA as one of the weirdest sequels that has ever existed.
Fair statement.
That sounds like it could be a compliment.
It could be. It could be. I'm so excited to talk about LA, but I also don't want to like jump past New York, because I legitimately think New York is one of the great low budget science fiction films.
Absolute fact. Yeah.
Brad,
Kurt
when did
Russell,
you first see? You said you saw LA in theater. When did you first see New York? I would hope you had seen New York before.
Oh yeah, I had seen New York before. Like, by the time I was like 12 years old, I was a John Carpenter maniac, thanks to Big Trouble in Little China, The Thing, Halloween, Assault on Precinct 13, Starman. and I, I was so hyped. I was like Phantom Menace hyped for Escape from LA, and I had a Phantom Menace like reaction to Escape from LA.
John,
And
plug your ears.
coincidentally, 25
Yeah,
years
yeah.
ago, Phantom Menace came out, and I've cooled on my hate for Phantom Menace. I actually kind of like Phantom Menace too, but we're not here for that.
I've always kind of liked Phantom Menace. I'll just put it out there. John, when did you first see Escape from New York?
It's one of those ones where I'm going to have to claim it was either a videotape that my brother rented and I got to watch, or it was on like UHF channel one Saturday night, and I was unsupervised and living in the middle of nowhere. And I was like, oh, that Kurt Russell. Oh, cool. I like this movie. And then, watching it on videotape and revisiting it on disc. And I can say, Brad, you're spot on. Like, New York is just like concept alone. What I think one of the greatest things in retrospect that Escape from New York is to remind everybody that this sort of crime panic mentality that everybody has is not new.
Yeah.
Because that's like the foundation of Escape from New York is this. Okay, everybody's convinced that the cities have turned into these living nightmares and we're all like, it's just absolute nuts. And this is the only solution in the future is the way things are going right now. And it's beautiful as a result. And I think it also is one of those movies that clearly demonstrates that the greatest muse that John Carpenter ever had was Kurt Russell.
100%.
And there are so many movies from John Carpenter where I'm like, if Kurt Russell had been available, this one would have been better because they would have worked together if they could have.
Yeah.
So
Memoirs of an Invisible Man with Kurt Russell, better.
Yes. But I mean, the thing is, it's unfair because Kurt Russell's like a cheat code. He makes almost everything better. It's like, so it's, and then Escape from LA, I was there with you, Brad, where I saw it in the theater and I was so excited. I was like, Escape from New York has a sequel? You gotta be kidding me. And I came out of the movie sort of like Butters, where everybody with me just had this white hot hatred of it. And I was like, I don't know, guys. I kind of like it. And I've had a complicated relationship with it ever since. So
yeah. I'm curious, Shawn, like, what do you know of Escape from New York and Escape from LA?
Well, what's funny is Escape from LA was the one that first came on my radar because that was, I want to say that was early mid 90s.
Yeah, like 95, I think.
Right. So by that point,
that time.
I was aware enough and I was going to the movie. So it was somewhere I remember seeing commercials for it, not knowing much about it. I think it was a little while before I realized there was another one like that was not an original film. That was a sequel to the film.
The trailers for LA were great.
They
were great.
I honestly don't remember any of them. I just remember Kurt Russell and just that iconic look.
And it's 96, by the way.
Oh, 96. Okay. So it was right the year before Escape from New York is supposed to be taking place.
Correct. 97.
Gotcha. Okay.
That is correct.
Perfect. So that was my familiarity with this, if you want to call it a franchise, I guess, was Escape from LA just by the fact that I was old enough to have started watching movies and being aware of movie trailers and films being released.
What about plot stuff?
Plot stuff, I know very, very little. Very little. I know kind of, John, what you were saying. It's kind of post-apocalyptic. The world is kind of divided into each of these major cities, which are all disaster zones. I know that Snake is on some kind of rescue mission. Like, I think he's trying to save the president. He's been hired to save the president. I don't know if Snake is just like a badass, like retired police officer, or he's somebody a bit too dangerous, kind of like a Rambo situation where it's like, oh, he's gone off his rocker and we need to bring him back in so that we can hire him he's the only one who can do it, that kind of thing. And I really don't know much else about it. I know that I'm a big video game fan. I'm a big Metal Gear Solid fan. I know that Snake Plissken was the inspiration for Solid Snake in that franchise, so I know of the homages in that game that are referencing Escape from New York.
And what about LA's like not LA's reputation, but LA's relationship to New York? What do you know about that?
That I know absolutely nothing other than it's a sequel.
Okay.
And I know
Okay.
nothing. I know nothing about it.
I'm so
and as far as
excited.
reputation goes, I know it is very, very despised amongst this fan community.
This is going to be a journey.
Yeah.
Young Shawn.
I'm very curious because it is, I can't pinpoint a specific example, but I feel like this has happened on Missing Frames before. It's part of what's fun about the format in general is in a situation where somebody hasn't grown up with the film, or maybe there's a film that's part of a franchise that it's like, that one's terrible. And then you have somebody watching it for the first time without the years of expectations, without the love of that original film, that love of Escape from New York that can shape the reaction to its sequel. I'm going to be watching these back to back. And while I don't expect to come out swinging in favor of Escape from LA, I am very curious to see if just not having an understanding or expectations or any of that buildup, if that might cushion the blow a little
I'm
bit.
a little nervous about how you're going to respond to New York, because New York's one of those movies where I've shown to some friends and they've dug it, and I've shown to other friends and they've thought it was not good. Because it is very much of its time. It is very low budget. But I think if you really zero in on what Kurt Russell is doing, if you dig his vibe, I think you'll have a good time. I think also if you're paying attention to the production design of New York, I mean, they are not filming on backlots. They couldn't film on Manhattan, but they went to like St. Louis and they filmed out in bombed out neighborhoods. They had the town like shut down blocks of power so that they can control it. Like, it's so impressive just from a visual standpoint. And like when you compare what they were able to accomplish with the sets, quote unquote, the locations with this compared to what you see today with all this, green screenification, I think it's a phenomenal art object.
Well, that sounds like I'm very excited for that, and I'm very excited in general. Because I am a John Carpenter fan. I think you two are the people responsible for kind of really lifting up that love. And,
You're welcome.
And where did this fall? This is after Halloween. It's after the Fog. When did? Because John, you and I watched the Fog together for the first time.
Yeah.
So this is after that.
It's 1981.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's before The Thing. So this is the road to The Thing, basically.
But Carpenter and Russell had worked before on the Elvis miniseries or the Elvis TV movie.
Okay. All right. So it was Dark Star, Assault on Precinct 13, Halloween, The Fog, Escape from New York, the Thing, this is just crazy. Like, this is 74, 76, 78, 80. 80 was The Fog, 81 was Escape from New York, 82 was The Thing, 83 was Christine, 84 was Starman, and then there was a 2-year break, and then Big Trouble in Little China.
Absolute bangers all around.
He needed a nap at one point, and that's why it took so long for Big Trouble to come out.
This is crazy though, but it's been fun to. I feel like I really haven't seen much from the 90s, obviously. I saw Memoirs of an Invisible Man. I was really young. I don't even really count that. Haven't seen Ghosts of Mars, obviously. Escape from LA, watching that for the first time. They Live, I haven't seen. So I've really, honestly, it's been fun to kind of be in this era of John Carpenter and watching things like not necessarily in order, but kind of, watching his career and his aesthetic and his style grow and evolve over the course of, frankly, like, we didn't love The Fog, John, but like,
no, we did not.
Halloween, Escape from New York, and the Thing are all masterpieces.
I'll tell you, I think it'll be a very good exercise because it's same director in two different eras with the same character. And I think you will very much get a sense for the way in which the industry changed and whether Carpenter was ever truly equipped to enter into what we would now consider like sort of the digital age of filmmaking.
Right.
Because, by the time Escape from LA comes out, we're just starting to really mess around with the digital stuff because
Yeah.
it's post Jurassic Park. And so you start to see, where that's going to go, but you also see how I don't want to bias you one way
I
or
get
the
what
other.
you're well, no, I get what you're saying though. It makes sense. And it is based on what I do know. What you're saying makes sense.
I
It's
think we
two different
should-
eras, and Brad, what you're saying about the low budget and stuff, I can see a conflict of interest already, just based on the what is expected from action movies of the 80s versus the 90s.
We should also take note of the cinematography change
Oh,
between
yes.
the two films. Like Dean
Yes.
Cundey shoots Escape from New York. Dean Cundey did Halloween with Carpenter, The Thing.
Right, okay.
He did The Fog. He would go on to be the cinematographer for Jurassic Park.
Yep.
And then Escape from LA is shot by Gary Kibb, who did for Carpenter They Live, Prince of Darkness, In the Mouth of Madness, Village of the Damned. Also,
Okay.
Double Dragoned and RoboCop 3. So, like, it's
Masterpieces in their own right.
very
Yes.
different visual aesthetics.
I am looking forward to it, and I think part of the reason I'm looking forward to watching Escape from LA is just this format and getting to watch it and discuss it with you guys. I don't know if it was something where I was choosing to watch New York on my own. I don't know how excited I would be to plunge right into LA. It might be something I have.
And are you going to do 1 and 2 back to back? Like, are you going to take like a night and watch both of them?
I don't know. I do want some breathing room between
I think
the
you
two.
should.
Yeah. I do
Yes.
want some breathing room between the two. I really, because I want to sit with Escape from New York. Because I get what you're saying, Brad. Just, you want friends to love it when you show it to them. And it's, obviously for you, it's had a mixed reaction with the people you've shown it with. But in general, Escape from New York is considered a classic, one of the best action movies. It is a landmark film of its genre. So I want to be able to sit with that a little bit before I jump into Escape from LA. I just want to let it marinate a little bit. And it sounds like that's the right decision.
Yeah, Brad's absolutely right. And the thing is, Brad, I'll give you credit because I always forget the Village of the Damned ever existed. And I'm like, oh, right. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Is
that
that
one.
wasn't Christopher Reeve in that one?
He was indeed.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was indeed.
I kind of like it.
Oh my God.
It's been so long since I've seen it, but how could you ever really hate anything that Christopher Reeve was in?
Yeah.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
I mean,
Not even Superman 4.
Yeah.
All right, fine. Challenge my thesis right away.
Like,
Thank you so much.
Honestly, for John Carpenter, it's not until he does Vampires and Ghosts of Mars where I have to step away.
Oh, okay. Listen, I will defend Vampires. That's the one where I come out of the bleachers.
Okay,
I'm
all
going
right.
to defend that one.
This is fascinating just to hear the different trajectory, like the different mindsets of John Carpenter fans. And he's still out. I mean, he's hanging out. He's got things to say about movies. And
He sure
he's
does.
Certainly got opinions.
He's
and
got
kudos
checks to
him.
cash.
He's got
That's
checks
right.
to
Yeah.
cash. Yes. So, kudos to him. Like I'm just thrilled to be on this journey. I'm thrilled that even after this, there are still John Carpenter films held in high regard that I feel like I have to see. I feel like a lot of people enjoy Starman, maybe not
So
to the
good.
extent of like these ones, but I do hear the people who like it seem to have a real soft spot for that one as well. So it's nice to be on this quest. I've kind of guessed what the plot is already. I don't know if it's much more complicated than that. I wonder if there will also be, because this is a couple years after the Warriors, if there will be that kind of like colorful gangs, like competing gangs, and that kind of weird comic book style of gritty New York streets and sort of not futuristic, but that sort of vibe. That
What
comic
about
book colorful vibe.
cast? Do you know anybody beyond
No,
Kurt Russell?
beyond Kurt
Okay.
Russell, no.
Okay, cool.
No.
Cool.
Oh, is Harry Dean Stanton in this?
I'm not going to say.
Okay.
Yep.
Then I don't know for sure if who beyond Kurt Russell is in this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I really don't. I don't know much. It's the iconography. It's the it's just the stuff that pop culture I've absorbed, and that's really it.
I envy you going on this journey like for the first time, Shawn, because I'm legitimately curious, because as with anything, and this gets to what I think, Brad's saying is like, it can be so unpredictable how somebody's going to react to a thing. And it's like, so, I mean, that's the whole reason I love the concept of the show is like, I'm legitimately curious.
Yeah.
We've known each other for so long. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you don't know this movie. I've got to know where you come down on it, because like you were saying earlier, you don't have all of the baggage, right? Like Escape from New York is a movie where I can't really remember the first time I saw it, and I can't really remember life before it was in my brain. So to get that sort of like different take on it is going to be really wild, really wild. You know what? If I were a betting man, I would place some money on the idea that you're going to invert it and you're going to like love Escape from LA and think it's like a 5-star classic. And then you're going to be like, well, man, Escape from New York is the rough sketch, but Escape from LA is the
New York
masterpiece.
is just the
I don't see that happening.
No, I don't either. That's why I'd only place a small bet on it.
Only a
like
small,
$5.
a reasonable amount on that. Sure.
LA is so weird, guys.
It is.
I'm like, okay. I don't know if Brad's saying it's so weird. That's definitely like, I like Brad's version of like, it's weird and I love it. Like I'm on board with Brad's, like the years we've been doing episodes together and introducing each other to movies. I've learned to appreciate Brad's sense of appreciation for weird movies. And if Brad
it's a confusing idea.
If Brad is emphasizing the weirdness of it in some strange way, it's making me even more excited for it. In a weird way, I obviously am more excited to watch New York, but I am genuinely excited to see LA just because I want to know. I want to experience it and understand what just being a part of that conversation and being able to have that conversation with you guys. So I am very much looking forward to that. And what do you say we take a break now and we will watch and we'll be back to discuss it.
Now available to own on video cassette.
And we are back. John and Brad, Escape from New York. We'll start with Escape from New York. Of course, that's how this works. What do you think? Did I enjoy it?
Well,
Brad, do you think I enjoyed it?
I know we want to get to like, okay, yeah, Escape from New York. That's the film we should be talking about first. That's how logically it makes sense. But like the thing I'm most anxious about are your feelings and thoughts about LA.
I meant what I said when I said I was genuinely excited to watch both of them, because it really was one of those situations where it's like, it kind of is a package deal. And I kind of am just as curious to see how I'll react to that. But, I don't know. I feel like I want to build up some suspense here. But John, what were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say that because this doesn't lock you into like a final rating of like on the sacred 5-star scale or anything like that. But like approaching it like an evaluation at work, you have 3 choices: below expectations, meets expectations, or exceeds expectations. And meets expectations could mean you loved it because we did a pretty good job of talking it up beforehand,
right?
So that gives us a lot of room for good ratings. So I'm going to say meets expectations.
Brad, what would you say on that scale?
I think for the first film, meets expectations, and for the second film, below expectations.
We are going to say, we'll just go with New York for now. You were both spot on. Meets expectations. And by that, I mean, I thought it was great.
Yes.
Now, when I say, I guess why I wouldn't say exceeds expectations, it kind of dodged expectations in that I was expecting something a bit more raucous and a bit more, I guess, edge of your seat, action packed. And this movie is not that. And that threw me, not in a bad way, but it threw me for a loop, because I was like, this is a pretty slow movie, considering this is held in high regard as one of the greats of the genre.
It takes like 20 minutes before Kurt Russell says a thing.
Yes. Yeah. So I was kind of like trying to find the film's wavelength for a little bit, but I was really involved from the get-go, despite that kind of that weird twist for me, because the the visuals and the production design and everything about the world building in the beginning is kind of like, okay, I'm into this. I'm into the way we're building up this world. I'm into the way the world works, the way it looks. I want to know how this world works. And I think as far as world building goes, this has got to be one of the prime examples of like building a cinematic world that is, it's self-contained. I mean, let's pretend for a second that there is no Escape from LA, but really this is self-contained in that it is singular. There isn't a whole lot like it. Like there are elements here and there of like, you see a little bit of Mad Max, you see a little bit of the Warriors. Like I was saying, there is a Warriors vibe. Speaking of which, is Deborah Hill related to Walter Hill?
I do not know.
I
don't know
honestly couldn't answer that.
I couldn't answer that either, and I could have looked it up and I didn't. But it just felt like that vibe. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were related somehow. And he was like, hey, make it like the Warriors. And she said, sure, Walt.
The world building begins with the credits and the score. Talk
Yes.
about that, Shawn. What was your experience watching those credits play out?
I loved it. I loved it very much because I think the credits do set the stage. And I was expecting, it's like, all right, now we're going to kick off with some explosions. And then I quickly realized like, oh no, the credits, the opening credits were really kind of bracing you for what was to come. And that it's not a loud, bombastic movie. It is kind of not quiet, but it's a bit reserved. It's a bit
mellow
more,
and menacing.
Yes, mellow and menacing are really, really great words to describe it. You are kind of like, you're on the edge of your seat, not in a way where it's like just blasting you with excitement or crazy action and stunts. You're kind of just like in that same way that with Halloween, you feel this kind of, this note is getting under your skin and you're like, what is going on? Who is watching what? And when Snake first gets into New York, you're just kind of like, you're in there with him wondering like, what the hell is around that corner? Who are these people? Why is this vaudeville performance going on? What is happening? And you don't know what to expect. And I really loved that a lot.
I'm glad you mentioned that because it's like, this is the director of Halloween. Like you can see that. And I think you're right to call out. It's a suspense film in so many ways, because you said, you what's around that next corner, what's going on here. And you're just always on the edge of your seat. What I want to know in terms of being on the edge of your seat though, and in terms of the world building and all of that type of stuff, is knowing full well that we're past the date where this happened and everything like that. Let's say we were just make a couple of title card changes and we're like, oh, okay, this actually New York got turned into the prison in like 2700 or so, whatever. Like you carry it out of that and you move it to what is actually like, future in your mind. Do you think that makes it more effective? Do you think it was more effective as a dystopian nightmare back when it was first released, or does it still work as well, you think, now?
I think it still works as well now. I think it could still work. Like there is, it's technically in the sci-fi, like you put it in that bucket, it's labeled as such. It's not really a science fiction film, except for the fact that it's kind of like there's some futuristic graphics and it takes place in the distant future of 1997. But other than that, it feels like you could have said, one of my favorite things about the X-Men films, the first couple X-Men films, is they take place in the not too distant future.
Yeah.
I feel like this is that kind of movie. You could put that tagline instead of having a specific year, and it can always be, even with its dated elements. And honestly, I don't know that there are that many. I mean, it's obviously it's a low budget film from the early 80s. But it feels like it could be of any time. It could be any distant future. Even now, it almost works better now because everything is so nuts.
I feel like we're closer to it now than we were 20 years ago. Like when you were watching Escape from New York in the year 2000, it felt like, oh, this was the 80s idea of the dystopia. And then now in 2024, I go like, no, this is my idea of dystopia. Like, this feels not that far off from what could be.
Yes, and that kind of gave it a little bit of an edge too. Like it's a grimy film, and it's an
angry movie. It's nihilistic, and
yes,
and that nihilism is from the very beginning. and we've got the opening exposition dump from an uncredited Jamie Lee Curtis, and
Mhm.
then we go to Liberty Island, and we're getting this totalitarian government, and it feels so what's the word?
Hopeless.
Well, no, yeah, but hopeless, but like it feels casually nihilistic,
Yeah, it's like it's almost hopeless is the wrong word, because it's a scenario in which like there's not even hope. You can't have hopeless without the possibility of hope. And in this case, it's kind of just completely obliterated.
And
It's
like
just
it's
this is
all
what we're working
hinted
with.
at,
Yeah.
this business about a World War III. Like we're not explicitly told about a World War III, but we hear about Leningrad, and we see how Hawk and Snake, they have some military experience, they have some familiarity with each other, that they serve together. They talk about Leningrad, and you're piecing all this stuff together, and it's making a picture that's really scary in your mind, but it's a blurry picture.
Yeah.
And I would offer that it's very effective, specifically because it does that exposition you're talking about the right way, because people don't sit there like you have so many clumsy sci-fi dystopian movies where they're like, I can't believe we're fighting World War III. You're right. When that started in January of 1987, that was
Yes.
crazy. And it's like, here it's the way people talk about it. Yeah, you got the Purple Heart in Leningrad, and you had that thing go down in Siberia. Like that's how people actually talk to each other. And so I think it's like it's a function of the fact that I don't know whether it's Carpenter or Castle, whoever got the dialogue right.
Yeah.
That I think that's such a key part to the scenes in this film, is getting that dialogue in such a way that it isn't clunky.
And every time, Snake meets a new character, that character's like, oh, I thought you were dead.
Yes.
Which I believe is a lift from the John Wayne movie Big Jake, but it communicates so much in the context of this film, and it really amplifies his character.
Oh, that's great too, because I mean, this does feel like a Western. Like he is, and he's totally, I mean, Kurt Russell, I think, admitted as much in interviews. He's not trying to hide it, but like he's channeling Clint Eastwood and that vibe, that cowboy vibe of like, this guy does not care, and he is a badass, and he will mess you up if you get in his way. But it's all in there. It's in there. It's in the costumes. It's in the production design. It's in these incredible models. Like I was genuinely blown away by the opening shots of New York. First of all, they have the Liberty Island shot, which is great, but then you pan over and you have this little booth there, and you're seeing like this dystopian, this army sort of hanging around, and they've got the giant wall around the city, and then you're tilting up and you're seeing the city, you're seeing the cityscape, and you're this incredible model that you're seeing from helicopter view, and all of that stuff serves to as an impact. And I think John Carpenter understands and understood, or he may have understood then, I don't know how much he understands now, but he understood that you don't need to explain it when you can show it. And if you have striking visuals like that and a good team putting together a really unified vision that speaks to what that world is, you can just fill it in with these kind of colorful characters and let them do their thing without having to say, oh, and by the way, this is what happened. It's like, we don't really need to know. We just need those little hints, and we can put together the pieces ourselves.
And what's so cool is you have this urgency where Snake Plissken has been given these capsules that are going to explode in 24 hours. So he's got to go and get the president of the United States. He has to complete his mission. But at the same time, the movie still meanders, and it almost plays like an anthology where, he's at the vaudeville show, and then he's, seeing the Duke of New York's parade. And like, it's all these little short stories within the runtime.
Yeah, and I love all the supporting characters. I didn't know who was in this movie. I didn't realize Lee Van Cleef was in it. Ernest Borgnine, who last time we saw him, John, you and I were talking about The Wild Bunch.
Yep.
Donald Pleasance, I didn't know was in this. I feel like I'd heard that Isaac Hayes was in it, and Harry Dean Stanton I also must have heard because I guessed that correctly. And then Adrienne Barbeau, who was in The Fog, but like,
and they were married at the time of the film's release. Carpenter,
were they?
Yeah,
I didn't know that. That's crazy. But I love these characters are all colorful. They all have striking personalities. And again, it's really up to the performances and their costumes and everything around them that is speaking to who these people are. Because we don't know, why does Ernest Borgnine drive a cab? I don't know. Like, I was like, there was a point where I was just like, where did they get the gas from? And
there's an
explain it
economy
later
here that we don't know about.
Yes, they explain it in like, not explain it completely, like this is how the economy works, but you do find out later, like, oh yeah, there's like a fuel station or something. Like, you find out the information is doled out to you. But then I was also like, I mean, they could have not said anything and I would have been like, they're cars, sure, why not? I'll go with it. I understand. I understand that I don't need to understand.
Well, but again, I think that gets back to avoiding the clunky exposition. Is so many movies bog down into, well, this is how they're smuggling the things through and everything like that. Whereas we're with Snake, and it's like, it doesn't matter how they're getting gas; they do.
Yes,
and that's all that matters. I did before we recorded. I finally watched. I've been meaning to for so long. I finally watched on YouTube the deleted opening, the bank robbery, the alternate opening. Have you watched that, Shawn?
No, I haven't.
You've watched it though, right, Brad?
I have. I've seen it. Yes.
Now, Brad and I have seen it, but Shawn, can you see this movie starting any other way than it does?
I don't want it to, when it opened, I was thinking like, I don't know what the deleted scene was, but I'm glad it's not here, whatever it was, because I can't imagine it would be more effective than just like dropping you in the middle of the New York of the future. Like, I liked that a lot. I liked that so much that I was like, I don't even want to think about what a potential alternate opening was, but tell me more about the deleted scene.
Well, gosh, the alternate opening is you see Snake lift a bunch of future money from a future bank that ties into a metro station, basically. And he and his partner get away, and they're billionaires with their little fake credit card thingies. And then, of course, they show up at where did they show up? They showed up. Did they take the train to San Francisco or St. Louis? Was it San Francisco or St. Louis?
I can't remember, but
yeah.
They get caught.
Yeah. And his buddy gets shot and killed, and Snake gets caught because he runs back to try to, convince him to drop the bag and stuff like that. And it's really interesting because I think that the current opening is the right opening, specifically because this shows Snake as like willing to go back and save somebody. And he's, obviously bothered by his buddy getting killed, whereas dropping Snake in and just, like you said, Shawn, building up as a badass, you don't know, like, he's amoral here in this context.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a heartstring to pull on. And so I think that's actually just a more interesting way to have it.
He's in the dark, right? Like, we're in the dark regarding him. And even though it's Kurt Russell, and we all love Kurt Russell at this point, you're not sure how you're supposed to actually feel about Snake.
Well, that's
really
what I
until
like.
The ending.
That's what I like about it. And John, when you said that, the scene features him like, no, I got to go save my buddy. I'm like, I don't like that, because Snake, what makes Snake effective is that mysterious quality and that sense that he is not out to help anybody but himself. And to humanize him in that way takes away from the mystique a little bit. Like, I don't want to know that about him. In the same way, like with Michael Myers, I don't really want to know why he is what he is. I just want him to be the shape. I want him to be the entity that is unstoppable. It dilutes the effect if you start to say like, the reason Snake is so cut off is because, he doesn't want to love anybody ever again because his buddy died, and he doesn't want friendship because it hurts too much when, I'm like, I don't want any of that. I just want to, like, he's got an eye patch, he's got beautiful luscious locks. I'm into it. Yeah, boy does he. So
you wait to watch Rob Zombie's Escape from New York, Shawn.
If that happens, that I will riot. That's the end of it right there. I will absolutely lose my mind. There are two movies that will push me over the edge, and it's a Rob Zombie remake of this movie and a live action Robotech that they were talking about,
Oh,
and the cast that they
no.
had tied to that. Either one of those movies, you guys are gonna have to bail me out of the prison island that they send me to.
Well, I was
So-
I was reading there was a remake for Escape from New York that
Yeah.
has constantly been like just in
Gerard Butler.
Yeah,
Ugh.
that. Oh my god. Yeah, but it's just
I'd
like-
watch it. I'd watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I know you'd watch it, Brad. I know perfectly well you would watch it. But like, I was just reading through some of the like, oh yeah, we a remake, and I'm just like, no, 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 no. And that they approached Wyatt Russell, and he appropriately said no, that would be career suicide. I mean, I'm looking through the names here, and I'm just like, none of these people. I mean, even if there were names attached that were interesting, but this is like Brett Ratner and Len
It's
Wiseman.
such
and,
a
ugh.
Kurt Russell joint. Like, I mean, it really feels impossible to make this movie without him, which is interesting when you go back and you look at the conversations of who they were possibly considering for Snake Plissken back in the day. The producers are like, oh, Charles Bronson, but John Carpenter's like, well, Charles Bronson's too damn old. He's like 60 years old at this point. And then you hear like, well, what about Tommy Lee Jones? And there is a version of this movie where I could kind of see Tommy Lee Jones doing it, but it's
Sure, yeah.
not as good. It's just not.
No. Well, this is also Kurt Russell. This was his proving ground, right?
Yeah.
Like he, at this point, was kind of like, he was the Disney kid. He'd been in a bunch of family-friendly movies, and he was looking to kind of depart from that image a little bit. And boy, does he. Like, but I love the image of him is so iconic, and he is so good and just so watchable. Like you can't take your eyes off him. You're so amazed by him. And maybe I'm just in love with Kurt Russell, who isn't, but like at the same time, just his vibe and the danger this character gives off, you were so enthralled by him. And I think part of it is the fact that he does kind of have those sort of like he's got that like that almost you wouldn't expect it of him, that kind of weird contrast with who he is versus how he looks. And I think if you take that away and put somebody a little bit more obvious like Charles Bronson, even Charles Bronson at a younger age, I feel like it's a bit too obvious.
Yeah, even Charles Bronson in Once Upon a Time in the West isn't right for this. And it's like what's crazy is there have only been 2 of these movies, but this, I'll go ahead and say it, this is Kurt Russell's Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Nobody else can have this role. It
Yeah.
just doesn't work for anybody else, because I think both of you have been saying this straight up too, where it's like Kurt Russell himself has so much on-screen charm and charisma that even though he's this amoral, eye-patched jerk, you still like him
Totally.
because you
Yes.
can't help it.
Yeah.
Yes. And I mean, but he's not like, I mean, he's a jerk, but he also like the humanity, whatever humanity is in there, does come out naturally and organically later on as he's kind of assembling this kind of bumbling group around him. He is kind of reluctantly, but almost like demonstrating this sort of this love and this kind of kinship with these people.
But I
even
also I feel like we relate to Snake Plissken more now. I mean, I certainly relate to him more now than I ever did because of the hell that he is living within. The system in which he is rebelling against is so repulsive that you side with him.
that's a good point.
He's not
Yeah.
necessarily heroic, but he is a resistance fighter, and
Yes,
there is a
he's-
romanticism to that.
He is certainly like something that is there to screw with the machine. And I think you're right. I think that immediately makes him likable. I think that's what you have going into it, is the fact that, and maybe that's part of why that deleted opening scene just doesn't work, is because you don't need to relate to him as somebody who cares about people.
Right.
You just want to see him break this system. That's how you relate to him, is you're like, well, this doesn't look good. And this guy is just like, man, I don't care.
What makes his revolutionary stance so great too is because it's what we all find ourselves in when we want to rebel against the system. Is yeah, I can't take it down, but you're asking me for help? No, I'm not going to help you save anything. I don't like this
Yeah.
place.
Right.
You know, and they have to literally they literally have to dangle the threat of death over him for him to be like,
they have to
fine.
inject him with something that
Yeah.
will blow him up.
Yes. Yeah. You will actually die. You'll bleed out and absolutely die if you don't do this thing. Well, fine. Then I guess
Yeah.
I'm doing this.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did love that. And there was a part of me that wondered, I'm like, is that gonna be a problem for me as the film plays out? Like, am I gonna lose interest or a sense of engagement? Because typically, and audiences in general, you want to have that emotional through line. You want to feel emotionally connected to the characters. And I didn't feel emotionally connected in the way that I'm like, oh gosh, I really I really want him to make it through okay. I want all these people to make it through okay. I did, but I realized, like, very early on, as Snake, when he discovers that the president's wristwatch or whatever it is, his tracker on the dead guy, and he's just kind of like, well, he's not here. I just kind of realized, well, I guess this isn't that movie. Like, I'm never going to feel like emotionally invested in what's happening. And
But I
that's
think you
that's
are
perfectly
emotionally
okay.
invested at the point where he, at the end of the film, he sticks it to the president, where he rescues the president, and yet he still tears up what the president and your United States of America believes in, this tape.
Yes.
And
I think,
ooh, that's so good.
I think that's part of the journey too, is as you're spending time with all these people and you are kind of enjoying their company, that when you have this climactic scene on the bridge where they're all blowing up and you're like, wait a second, everybody is dying. This is terrible. I like these people. And at the end, when the president's like, oh yeah, it's too bad, whatever,
Yes.
you feel that blow. It's at that moment where you realize, like, well, damn, no, I did feel emotionally connected to these people. I did like these people. And I feel that blow the same way I think Snake does, in the sense that it's like, you feel personally insulted. Like, what the hell? Like, what is this? What is this society? Who is this president? And then it makes that ending, that final punch, all the sweeter when you reveal the twist that Snake has switched the tapes. I loved that.
And I love when he is talking to the president, because I think you're right. Like, I think Snake is giving the president one last chance to prove to him that he needs to say, okay, I'll give you the tape. And it's the president's reaction there that I think just solidifies, like, Snake's giving him a chance to prove that he's not making the right choice about switching the tapes. And then the president proves he did make the right choice. And that's why Snake's like, okay, bye.
And I love
it's,
it's just a reinforcement of, like, this world is not going to change. And all you can do is just rebel in your own personal way. And, it's a big statement. It's certainly not something that's going to pan out well for the US of the future. But in a way, it's like, the system won't change, but at least you have people like Snake messing with everything.
I mean, you got to find your own personal freedom.
Exactly.
And also, just like, shout out to Donald Pleasance giving it all in the role of the president of the United States.
Yes.
Like he is giving the most vicious portrayal of Ronald Reagan and Maggie Thatcher wrapped up into one fascistic dictator.
Yeah.
I love it. And I didn't realize it until I was doing a little research, but Donald Pleasance was a prisoner of war, and
really
has said that he brought that experience to the hostage situation of Escape from New York. and like, I feel like Donald Pleasance is really just giving a lot of himself for this sniveling, horrible little creature.
Yeah. I also, I loved Isaac Hayes as the Duke. Again, did not know Isaac Hayes was in the movie. Really didn't know he was playing the big baddie in the movie.
How about that introduction?
He is so good, and he's so effective, and I love the soundtrack, the sequence, the car chase, if you can call it a car chase. I mean, it is kind of a car chase. There are cars involved. I just love that. I guess I would call it the Duke's chase theme. I love that music so much. But I mean, I'm kind of making a crack about the car chase scene. I would say what was most striking and most shocking to me about this film is that I think the least interesting part of it is the action. Like, the action is not that exciting.
It's
like
super low budget.
Yes, yeah, and like, you know, it's not to say that it wasn't fun to watch. Like, that car chase is fun to watch, as is the cage match between Snake and this giant wrestler. But the choreography is what I would like to call pre J.J. Abrams Star Trek fight choreography.
You know
like
what?
with
And
just
listen,
go ahead.
I'm grateful that it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Because anybody who's ever been in or seen like an actual real fight knows that whole, you know, spinning around, breathless, sweat flying everywhere thing. No, it's a couple of shots. People get tired very quickly, and then somebody gets a lucky blow, and it's done.
ugly, right?
Yeah.
Like a fight is boring.
It looks
looking.
disgusting. Yeah.
Yes. So not the most thrilling fight scenes, not the most thrilling action sequences. And that kind of surprised me. But like, I mean, if I'm going to knock the movie, that's probably what I would knock. But like, to me, it almost was the weird upending of expecting insane, intense, bombastic action, and then realizing like, oh no, this is like a slower, almost Blade Runner world building meditation on this dystopian idea of what our future could be. And I really enjoyed it for that. I didn't mind, like, the action was almost like, oh yeah, I guess we do need an action sequence here. We do need like Snake to punch a guy to prove how badass he is. We need a moment where he shoots this guy. But that was kind of funny. Realizing at the end, I was like, the thing that stood out the least to me was the action in this so-called action movie.
Well, I think that is going to be a great indicator too of what you can expect from Escape from LA when he tries to scale up his action scenes. I think that the ending of Escape from New York gives you a little bellwether. You can be like, you know, this was low budget and he was early in his career. I wonder if he were to make a movie like this almost 2 decades later, if
Escape from LA is still low budget.
Yeah,
it certainly is. But one could argue,
but $50 million for 1996 that's a pretty big budget movie. I mean, adjusted for inflation,
was
that's
it
gotta be
$50 million?
Yeah, it was a $50 million movie.
What?
50. Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I take it back.
50.
I take it back.
Take it back, Brad. Take it back.
But like, yeah, I think the ending of Escape from New York, you can sit there and you can say, you know, I wonder if I come back to this, whether I'm going to see a skill set that expands beyond this, you know, so that action scenes are more thrilling.
Yeah.
And staged better.
It's honestly like insanely impressive what they were able to pull off in this movie, because it feels like an expansive world. Like, you don't feel like corners were cut as far as other than the fight choreography, but really, like, in terms of, I know it's low budget, but I never once felt like it was to the detriment of the film. It felt like that was part of the film's appeal, and honestly part of what made the world so effective and believable is just that, like, the street level grittiness of everything you see, and knowing that it was, I mean, they were literally filming this, like you told us, Brad, in the opening, the before segment of this episode, just like they went, what city did they go to? That was St. Louis, that had like literally burnt down in a terrible fire. So they're just filming in all these city streets where like there's just been horrible destruction, but like all of that speaks to it, and it works for this world. And then it makes it even more impressive when you see these like cityscape shots and these model shots, which apparently James Cameron had a hand in. That didn't surprise me.
He did some matte paintings. He did matte paintings. And I believe those matte paintings, some of them were then repurposed for Blade Runner.
That doesn't surprise me at all, because I mean, all of that stuff looks great. It all looks great. And I thought it spoke to just the excellence of what you can do and what you can pull off with a little bit of money versus like what could happen if you got more money later on.
A hungry filmmaker, you get the sense that this is a hungry filmmaker maximizing what he has.
Yes.
And not somebody who is overwhelmed by what he's given.
Yeah. And I think, The Thing was obviously a bigger budget, but I can see this as the stepping stone to The Thing. Like, all right, because The Thing is also, very self-contained, very about like creating that sense of dread and that sense of like, you are trapped with these guys and building their very specific world, even though it's not as expansive as like a whole city. It's that feeling of world building and that feeling of like, we don't know exactly what's going on. We don't really know who these people are, but as the film plays out, we're going to learn more about them, and we're going to understand through the magic of storytelling, cinematic storytelling, what happens here.
And
I can
making
see-
sure that every character has a life. And that's what I was really impressed with on this rewatch. Beyond Donald Pleasance, beyond Isaac Hayes, beyond Harry Dean Stanton, all the little actors in this movie, the background characters, the people who have like one scene here and there, they are exceptional. And I wanted to call out Frank Doubleday as Romero, the henchman of the Duke.
Yes.
The first
Yes.
villain that we see when Lee Van Cleef lands in New York to figure out what's going on. That performance that Frank Doubleday gives is so unsettling. And it's like the first real look of what life within this prison must be like, and how it would mutate you, change your DNA, and transform you into a goblin, because he is a goblin.
Yeah, I'm glad you called that out too, because I just, watching the film and trying to get my bearing, the second that he shows up and says like, we have the president, here's his finger, if you don't leave now, we're going to kill him. I was like, oh, okay. I understand completely the world that we're in now. Just the look of the guy, the delivery of the line, the matter of fact, kind of just like, not even cold, just completely emotionless, like back up. Like that, you are no longer in Kansas. This is our territory. I was like, okay, I'm here for this. This is great. I don't know, and again, I didn't look it up, but I'm pretty sure that one of the Lizzies from the Warriors is one of the hijackers of the plane, the female hijacker of the plane. I don't know if that's the truth, but she looked like her.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, and I know the actress's name, but it escapes me right now because I'm old and I'm forgetful. But gosh, oh geez, I'm gonna ruminate on this for a second. Hold on.
Ruminate. Yeah. I also love I'm just looking through my notes now. I loved the moment where he's talking.
Nancy, is it Nancy Allen? Is that her name?
No, it's not Nancy Allen.
No, it's not Nancy. No, I'm trying to get there.
He'll get it. Season Hubley is the girl in the chock full of nuts,
who was married to Kurt Russell at the time, and they had just had their first baby. Boston Russell was just born before making this film.
Did not know that, but I loved her getting pulled through the floor. Was awesome. Another great low budget effect stunt that like very, very effective. I really enjoyed that. It really spoke to just the weirdness and kind of terror of the city, and really like you're kind of rooting for Snake to get out of there. I thought that was really, really great.
Nancy Stevens. I knew it was a Nancy.
Okay. Is it her? Is she one of the Lizzies?
I'm looking. I won't lie. I cheated and I looked it up while we were talking here. So it's not going to be like, yeah, she was Marion Chambers in Halloween.
Maybe I'm thinking of her from Halloween.
Yeah, you are.
It's a similar look.
Yeah, she's the nurse that's driving with Donald Pleasance in the beginning. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. So I'm getting my 1978, 79 movies.
That's okay. I'm getting my Nancys all mixed up over here. So.
What else? Is there anything else that we should say about Escape from New York? Anything else that you're curious about as far as my reaction to it?
The score. I want to ask straight up about the score overall. I know that it establishes the mood with the credits and everything like that, but like, is this a score you would listen to just for kicks?
100%. Yes.
Correct.
Very,
answer.
very, very 80s. And I love it. And it also grew on me as the film played out, because it's very, very simple. It's very synthesized. And by the end, I was like, I need this. I need this in my veins. I will inject it directly into my bloodstream. I love it.
Correct answer. Glad to hear it.
Also, we didn't even mention Remy is the guy from Halloween 3. What's his name?
Oh, Tom Atkins.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, he's Tom Atkins.
He's a terrific.
That made me very
actor.
happy. And again, I guess I can only if Tom Atkins is in the film, it needs to be something that only the three of us can discuss.
Yeah, and Charles Cyphers is the Secretary of State.
Yep.
He's the sheriff from Halloween. Like, he's in a bunch of John Carpenter movies.
Mm-hmm.
So that made me happy. I was like, good. John and Brad are, as long as Tom Atkins is in the movie, then we're doing the right thing. But I really enjoyed it. It kind of defied my expectations in that I didn't expect it to be more slow and methodical, but I thought that worked in its favor, and I really enjoyed it. So what's what's the rating system? How many nuts is Escape from New York chock full of? Brad, we'll start with you.
This is one of my favorite John Carpenter movies. It's one of my favorite movies. I got to go 4.
Okay, John, what about you?
On a 5 scale,
Yes.
I vary back and forth. I give it a 4.5 usually, just because it's got so much style and panache. But there are a couple of pacing issues here and there. But probably I'm going to up it to a 5, just because I have such a
Why
love
not?
for it. And,
Why
well,
not?
I mean, the thing is, it's like, oh, it's got pacing, but like I never turn it off.
Yeah.
Like this is one of those movies where, like, if I were flipping channels, back when kids did that in the day, and I stumbled across this, I'm not turning it off. I'm going to watch it all the way to the end.
Totally.
So, yeah.
It's incredible. It kind of hypnotizes you. And the way that great slower movies do, like Alien or like Blade Runner or like Star Trek the motion picture.
I just love living in this era of I'm not going to comment. I just love living in this era of John Carpenter, the Halloween, The Fog, Escape from New York, Assault on Precinct 13, where he was really coming into his own. It's like the early Spielberg films. Like it's just this very special run of movies.
Yeah, I agree. I think this definitely lives up to its reputation. I will give it a strong, solid 4. Which brings us to Escape from LA.
Okay. Okay. So meet standards, exceed standards, below standards.
What do you guys think? Where does it rank for me?
Well, like, you knew going into watching Escape from LA that it is reviled, that people do not like this movie, and only a crazy person would try to defend it. So I imagine you would then meet standards, unless you're still surprised because of what it actually is. I can see you going like, oh, this is below standards.
I'm going to go the other way with my reasoning here, because I'm going to say you were aware it was reviled, and you're going to watch it, and I know you're a scamp, and you're going to watch it, and you're going to go, this is so crazy. I'm having such a good time with how dumb this is, that I'm going to say this exceeds standards for you.
John, I wish I could say it exceeds.
All right, I bet wrong.
All right. I wish, because I wanted nothing more than to come back and make you miserable. You know how much joy it brings me when I can do that.
Yes,
and so you know how much it hurts me that I have to go. Brad was right. This ended up somehow below expectations for me, and let me tell you why. Because one, mid-90s action movie. I was expecting it to be it's a relatively wacky movie. There's some crazy stuff in it. The surfing the tsunami wave was definitely a moment that I cherish and wish there was more of. What I was not expecting was for it to just be the first movie again.
Yes.
It's a remake.
It's a remake of Escape from New York, but like without any of the things I enjoyed about Escape from New York. Yeah. So that was what threw me for a loop with Escape from LA. So with Escape from New York, it threw me for a loop that it was a bit slower and a bit more methodical in its pacing. Escape from LA threw me off because I was like, this is the same goddamn movie.
Like beat for beat almost.
Yep.
Almost beat for beat. I was right. Like, I'm going to check my notes, but I was literally writing down like, wait, this is the same thing. I had the same reaction to the opening credits where I was like, oh, what an amazing cast. Michelle Forbes is in this. What? Peter Fonda, Pam Grier, Bruce Campbell, Cliff Robertson, Uncle Ben's in this movie. And then realizing that Shirley Walker did the score with John Carpenter was nuts. And then I was like, oh, they're like, wait, that's Snake Plissken? And I was like, why does that surprise you? He looks exactly the same as he did 13 years ago. And then, as we're going through these beat for beats, like, oh, you've got this much time to save this or to murder this person. I guess there's a little bit of a difference. Beat for beat, I was watching it and I was like, are they going to like turn this on its head? Like, are they going to, is this a commentary on like how sequels are all the same? Oh, no, it is just the same. There isn't really a clever commentary on it. It's just like, I don't know, that really, really baffled me. And that was what really killed it for me and made it very, very hard for me to enjoy it on any level. Even things like, I was looking forward to seeing Bruce Campbell. He's in the movie for maybe 3 minutes. For him to get like lead billing on this movie in the opening credits, and then for him to have that crazy makeup and to look so weird, and then for him to get killed immediately by a James Bond mouth dart to the head was very, very disappointing.
Yes. And I hear everything that you're saying, and I think that what is the real shame of all of this is that there are still elements here that were could have worked really, really well. I think Bruce Campbell's character, like you're saying, with more screen time is more interesting. I think that there are certain stunts, there are certain things that are staged really well. I think the movie doesn't completely fall apart until around the tidal wave. Like that's that is where it is just completely gone.
As much as I loved that was the moment where I was like, all right, I'm done.
There's no evidence of this, but Tony Hawk has claimed to be one of the doubles doing that surfing scene.
I mean, I could see that.
Not?
Yeah, why not?
Sure. Okay, that's fine. But and I think that there's this whole thing where it's like I can't understand why they approach it as a remake, but I think also if you're very generous and you presume that meta commentary that you were getting at, Roger Ebert thought it was a satire, and he said, "Oh, it's a really effective satire of the genre." And I think he was being too kind, because I think you're right. I think Carpenter wasn't trying to do that. Carpenter was just trying to remake his own movie. And
I feel like retroactively he's been like, yeah, kind of like Tommy Wiseau with The Room, like yes. Like a dark comedy, yes, of course, that's what I meant. Any movie given time and given a cult following, that cult will lift it up and they will find the things that they want to find.
And this is where Brad Gullickson enters the chat.
Come on in, Brad. Tell us what you think.
When I saw this originally, I was pretty heated about it, as I said it in the intro, and I felt very much the way that you did. And like the way I watch this movie now is like, how did this happen? This is such a weird and baffling and confusing idea to remake your own movie, but it's also just such an egotistical move too. And I find that fascinating and compelling enough for me to enjoy the experience. It's a little bit like how I feel regarding Gus Van Sant's Psycho. When you recast Psycho with all these different actors, the movie becomes something completely different. They bring a tone and a different type of character to those characters, and it's endlessly fascinating for me to consider. And I love Escape from LA while also recognizing that this was just such a bad idea, and it does not in any way live up to the power and the originality of Escape from New York. But the hubris of it all is like, ooh,
for you, it lifts it above.
It just makes it an oddity worth contemplating.
Yeah, I mean, certainly if we were going to watch Escape from New York, there was no way in hell I wasn't going to end up watching it. And from that perspective, that's certainly a way to watch it. This is the only latter day John Carpenter movie I've seen at this point. I think. I don't think I've seen anything else he made around this time in his career. So it was definitely like, wait a second, what's happening? A lot of the things that we hold in such high regard with Escape from New York are kind of gone here. And it's like, I'm seeing a lot of the same moments and beats from Escape from New York, but without any of that charm or finesse, or just like you were saying earlier, I can't remember, John, if it was you or Brad, but I think it was you, John, the hunger that you feel of a young filmmaker at the top of his game, like really trying to prove something. It felt with Escape from LA like I didn't know what he was trying to prove, and it that
He's
really
trying to hold
disappointed
on
me.
to something, I think. And I think the
Yeah.
same can be said for Kurt Russell as well. Like, the only reason this movie got made is because Kurt Russell loved the character of Snake Plissken so much. And they had spent a long time trying to get a sequel made, and they finally got it to happen. And I remember, like, there was a lot of hype building up to this movie. I'm like, they finally did it, guys. We're getting another escape movie with Snake Plissken. And then it arrives. And
It's
again,
this.
like, the trailer for it, like this, they were really embracing the satire. I wish you could just drop it into the feed here, but they were, like, oh, in the future, steak has been outlawed, no more red meat, and no more smoking, and no more dumping your popcorn in theaters, and then you're like, oh my god, it's back, Snake Plissken's back, and then you actually watch the thing, and it's so dull because it is such a mirror of the first movie's plot. But there are little twists here and there. And I think the ending and the decision, even though it's almost an exact replica of the decision that he makes in the first film, I do like him actually turning off the world.
Yes.
Him choosing
Yes.
the
That was
dark
great.
ages is
That
very
was
Snake.
great.
But
Yeah.
see that, and that's the difficult thing, is that very ending like redeems my mood about it in a very weird way, because Snake makes that decision, and because of the fact, like, I think, we're talking about the style. I honestly think that Dean Cundey
Yeah.
cannot be
Yeah.
overstated the influence that guy had on Carpenter
100%.
in terms of how he shot his movies, because this is a director who should know better, paired with a director of photography who just moved the camera forward 5 more feet, and that stadium looks fuller in that crowd shot instead of seeing the empty space around. It's like, guys, you've been at this long enough, just 5 feet closer.
You telling
5
me
feet,
that this
that's
is a
it.
$50 million movie is mind blowing.
Isn't
In
it just?
1996, I mean, that's all the sub effects and the wave
It
effect,
looks,
right? Like,
Yes.
Yeah, it looks worse somehow than Escape
It
from New
does.
York.
It
Like,
it absolutely
really does.
looks. It absolutely looks worse than Escape from New York, because again, you had somebody on Escape from New York who said, "Okay, these are models, these are paintings. I'm going to shoot it a certain way to help the audience go along with the illusion." Whereas this is just a guy say, "Yeah, put it up there, sure."
Yeah, well,
That's
I think maybe the budget spoke to that. Is like, with Escape from New York, they're trying to hide the seams and the duct
Yes.
tape and things like that, and so they're coming up with really creative ways to shoot it. Whereas when you have a $50 million budget, you're like, whatever. Like, it's like you don't care as much. You have the resources.
Sure, they
at your
can come in on
disposal.
very slow-moving hang gliders
Yeah.
in a gunfight.
We'll fix it in post.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing.
those
But it's
hand
what's
gliders.
Yes.
what's so disappointing about it is, I think if I had said, you know what, I just don't want to watch Escape from LA at all. Can you just read the plot to me? And if you read the plot to me, I would have been like, I have to see this movie. He surfs. He has to play a basketball game by
love it.
himself.
No,
So,
the
like,
basketball game's awesome.
That's awesome.
it's all
Yeah.
these things that I feel like I would enjoy in concept, but watching it, I remember when they crank down the frame rate, so it's kind of like moving in semi slow motion. I was like, is this supposed to be exciting? Like, am I supposed to be excited by what's happening here? And then when he makes the shot at the end, and he actually made that shot, apparently, because Kurt Russell is amazing.
Yes, he
that
is.
was super cool. But it's like, that whole time I was just sitting there like, am I what am I supposed to be feeling here? I don't feel anything.
I mean, we did a disservice to Escape from LA by assigning it to you immediately after watching Escape from New York. I do feel like if you had come to Escape from LA without the knowledge of New York, you would have enjoyed it more. And I also think that in like 5 years, when you have a hankering to watch Escape from New York, make the decision to actually watch Escape from LA. If you watch Escape from LA just on its own, it is immediately more enjoyable.
You think so? Like, it
I
gives you
agree.
that,
I
I
think
think
it is.
Brad's right.
because I don't like. My concern is, I think, because the things that I wanted to be more ridiculous were not as fun and enjoyable for me just watching it. I'm trying to think, like, I don't know that you're wrong, Brad, but I'm also like, so much of this really just bored me.
Yeah. Well,
And
you're
maybe that did have
cursed
some.
like the rest of us. You were
Yeah,
cursed with
I mean,
Escape from New York and then
yeah.
having to watch Escape from LA.
Well,
We've all gone through this process
Yeah.
that you're currently going through.
You're finally a man,
You know,
Shawn. We've
thank
gotten
you
there.
guys. Thank you so much. Well, no, I mean, yeah. Because I'm thinking, like, a lot of what bored me about it was the fact that I was like, this is all, he gets injured in the same
Yeah.
leg again.
Mhm.
Like,
Like
it
the
just
chock
was,
full of nuts girl is there. Like it's just a
yeah,
different
the
person.
audacity of all of that. But like also just the audacity of the laziness of it felt like, what?
Like again, I don't
yes.
necessarily think it's a laziness. I think it's a decision. I just think it's a bad decision.
Yeah.
I regard this the same way when I watch El Mariachi and then Desperado.
Yes. Or like the first half of Evil Dead 2 compared to
Oh yeah,
the rest of all of Evil Dead 1.
yeah, that's fair.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, both of those options though are way better. Like
They
Desperado
are.
is way
Yes.
better than Escape from LA and Evil
True.
Dead 2. Like, I mean, me even
Yes.
making that comparison, I'm ashamed.
Well, but it's look, you're trying, Brad. Look, I'm just glad somebody is here to fight for Escape from LA. Besides John Carpenter, who I was shocked to see stated that he thinks this is a better film than Escape from New York.
I honestly, I was talking about this with a friend of the show, Joey, and we were talking about it because we both saw this in the movie. I saw this in the movie theater back when it came out.
Same.
And that, that was an experience.
Yes.
And I was talking about it with him, and honestly, I think it's not an immediate, but I think that there is very much an overtime Carpenter sort of losing his verve. The Thing, he put it all out there. He offered the world his masterpiece, and it was not received as well as it should have been at the time. And I think that you see Carpenter sort of like, I think it kind of broke him in a way. And I think that Escape from LA is a natural extension of a guy who is haunted by the fact that when he gave it his all, he didn't get the response he was looking for.
Which movie are we talking about? The Thing?
The Thing, yeah.
Okay.
And so like he does The Thing, and I think that just sort of that took some wind out of him. And I think that there's a very clear trajectory. I think there's a small burst where he almost gets it back with vampires. And I know I'm an apostate for thinking that way, but he's almost like it's almost like he's piecing something together. And then like Escape from LA happens. It's like, okay,
I think all of his latter movies are watchable, even the ones that I have already condemned, like Ghost of Mars and Vampires. Like even The Ward, which I think is easily his worst film, has elements that I find appealing. But for me, John Carpenter never gets it back after In the Mouth of Madness in 1994, 2 years before this one.
Yeah, I have such a love-hate relationship with that movie.
Oh man, I love it. I think it's freaking brilliant.
I really want to see it. Have not seen it.
Okay, well there's another missing frame.
That's
So
our next one.
I'm willing to revisit it.
Is what's his name in that movie?
Sam Neill is in that one. He's
Not Sam Neill. No, our favorite actor from Halloween 3. I've already forgotten his name.
Oh, Tom Atkins?
Yes,
No,
is he in that?
no.
Oh, damn it.
I know.
Then I'm
right?
I'm not going to watch it.
But Jurgen Prochnow's in it.
Peter
and
Jason's
John
in it.
Glover's in it. John
Yep.
Glover, Lionel Luthor himself is in that film. So I'll take it.
There
I'll
you
take
go.
what I can get.
There you go. Yeah, no, Escape from LA is really, it's bizarre. It's because the thing is, it's like this is just Carpenter's skill set was never suited toward a big budget action movie that this is trying to be.
Yeah.
He's a small contained film guy.
Yeah.
And Escape from New York, it keeps its scale tight, but it has an excuse to do that. And The Thing is contained. Starman, contained. And but when you get here, it's just he has too much, that too many tools at his disposal. And I mean,
and there's, I don't imagine there was a studio mandate, but just the incorporation of, this is the 90s. The tie-in soundtrack is, of course,
it's abysmal. It's abysmal.
Yes. I was like, oh, Tool is the sound of the future. I guess. Wow. But like, you have that. You have the CGI, which is atrocious.
Even for the time, it was
for the time, it's pretty bad. All these elements that you can almost see And and that's why I say, I don't know. I can't imagine John Carpenter had somebody like breathing down his neck saying, you have to put these things in there. I imagine these are toys that he wanted to play with, but they do feel like him trying to find his way in a landscape that
Like,
had
to me,
changed.
this is what I think the decision was, and I've seen no evidence of this. But he is a Western maniac, right? And
Mhm.
he loved Rio Bravo, and Assault on Precinct 13 is basically Rio Bravo. And then Rio Bravo was basically remade into El Dorado. Like, John Wayne made that movie twice. And I feel like this is John Carpenter going, I can do El Dorado to my Escape from New York.
Right,
Mm.
right. Because I know he talks about that too in interviews. He references that specifically.
Oh, does
so-
he? All right, excellent.
Yeah, I think
I was going
think
to
you're
take claim
right.
for that idea.
Well, you can still take claim for it, but I do think he specifically references that film. Let me see. Yeah. He says, I think Escape from LA. This is his quote. Escape from LA is better than the first movie. 10 times better. Wow. 10 times better. It's got more to it. It's more mature. It's got a lot more to it. I think some people didn't like it because they felt it was a remake, not a sequel. I suppose it's the old question of whether you like Rio Bravo or El Dorado
Okay.
better. They're
Yeah, and
essentially the same
anybody who
movie.
says they like El Dorado more than Rio Bravo, you lock them up.
Yeah. so I mean, you could say the same thing about John Carpenter, but it's, maybe he was, because Escape from LA does have a kind of apologetic following. There is a cult following that's sort of built around this movie. I know one of my close friends seems to love it. I kudos, Matt. I love you. I don't love this, but like maybe Carpenter's hoping that history will be on his side in the same way that it was with
No
The
way.
Thing, but I don't think
0.0% chance on this one.
I don't
No.
think we're quite on the level here.
Although again, I still think Kurt Russell's charming.
Yeah.
He's so
Yeah.
great. I love him.
There
to
was-
I
death.
like all the actors. I really
Yeah.
like Steve Buscemi in this movie.
Yep.
Pam Grier, I love her. Her character doesn't look great in 2024.
Well, I mean, I honestly was surprised that they had a trans individual in this at all, and that in and of itself in a 1996 film to not really, like, they call attention to it as a kind of joke,
Yeah.
but they aren't disrespectful in the way they could have.
Well, okay. I mean, if that's our bar, okay.
Yeah, 1996.
I mean, the thing is, it's like, I mean, in terms of, I mean, the term back then would have been transsexual and everything. And it's like,
yeah.
At the very least, like, it's simply somebody that Snake knew. And when somebody tries to call attention to it, Snake's whole response is, I don't give an F.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it doesn't mean anything to me. And it's like, okay. But the thing that I want to throw out there is, I didn't realize this till I watched it this time. But, and I'm not trying to open up a can of worms or any other discussions about any other movies, but I realized that Rian Johnson ripped off the ending of this for The Last Jedi.
Here we go.
And no, I'm just saying, like, it's the ending of The Last Jedi. I was like, son of a gun, that's where he got it from. So, there you go. Thank you, John Carpenter.
the hologram. I
yes.
gotcha. Okay.
I'm not really here.
Yes, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
I love it
I'm
in
just
both.
saying. Yeah.
Okay, great. So Escape from LA. Yeah, my biggest disappointment was somehow I was bored throughout the whole thing, and I wanted to be like on board with the wackiness of it. And it's the same movie as Escape from New York, and that bummed me out.
Fair enough.
So what do we CGI tidal waves? Is that our rating?
Why not?
Yeah, CGI. Brad, how many CGI tidal waves? Let's throw Escape from LA a bone here.
I mean, I'm generous. Again, I think it's an interesting watch, and that's good enough for me. So I give it 3 out of 5.
Great, John. How about you?
Yeah, it's a 2.
I give it a 2. Yeah,
Fair.
I don't hate it. I was disappointed in that I wanted to feel like it was worse than it was in a weird way. More rambunctious, more outlandish, and I felt like the outlandish and rambunctious stuff wasn't on the level I needed
But
it
again,
to
like
be.
what I want to do is I want to be sitting next to Shawn as he starts Escape from LA. Like, take me back to pressing play. You
Yeah.
you sent us a text image of the
Yes.
title screen of Escape from LA. So what happened after that? When did you go like, hold on? Is this a remake?
Yeah, it was when I knew it was a remake, like immediately as I realized it was like a less
When was that in the movie? Like, how long did it take
almost
you?
instantly,
Okay.
because when they were giving him the whole spiel, like it's like, oh, we're bringing Snake Plissken in again, and I'm like, are there really no other people in the world who can do this job? And then they were like, and here's the same exact wristwatch you wore, and I'm like, oh my god, okay, so it's
less
pretty
time.
much-
It's less
yes,
time.
that's right.
There you
It
go.
is less time. So I was pretty instantly like, oh, it really is kind of, and I was waiting for the other shoe to drop and for it to be like the commentary on mindless sequels, but then it was just a mindless sequel, and I was like, oh boy, all right, not into it. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, all right.
Two
you go.
tidal waves. 2 tidal waves.
2 tidal waves.
Well, honestly, though, I had a great time. Thank you both for finally getting me to watch not just Escape from New York, but Escape from LA. Brad, I'll hold you kind of responsible. You,
And thanks to Escape from LA, we're back on the sequel train. So there you go.
We're back on the sequel train,
you
so
go.
we'll have to come up with something else soon. But gentlemen, Brad, we'll start with you. Tell the good people at home where else they can find you out on the internet.
You can find me on most social medias at Mouthdork. My wife Lisa and I, we have another podcast called Comic Book Couples Counseling, where we pair self-help books with comic book couples and we interview really rad creators. Our latest episode is a deep dive into the current Image Comics Skybound Transformers series with writer-artist Daniel Warren Johnson.
And John, where can the good people at home find you?
Well, you can find me online as Kessel Junkie, KESSELJUNKIE, where I share fun stories like accidentally showing my 8-year-old an R-rated movie because I thought it was PG-13, okay?
Wait,
Give me a
which
break.
movie?
Which one?
It was Executive Decision, starring Kurt Russell.
Great movie, great
yes.
Steven Seagal death. Sorry for
Yes.
the spoiler.
Best Steven Seagal death in the history of Steven Seagal death.
Correct.
Including when the real one eventually happens.
So really, really in the history of cinema and reality.
Yes, yes, indeed. And I'm on the Nerd Party Network. You can hear me on 2 shows. One is House Lights, where we look at the work of directors. And, of course, on Aggressive Negotiations, a Star Wars podcast.
And I am at Yay Shondorman on Twitter. I am Shondorman05 on Letterboxd. Find me and yell at me. Either of those places. Yell at me. If you see me in person, feel free to yell at me. I welcome all of it. So thank you, gentlemen. Thank you again. Always a pleasure to chat with you. And thank you, everyone, for listening. We will see you at the movies.